Hey everyone, and welcome to WDIM News. My name is Eric, and thank you very much for joining me. This is the second edition of a new podcast that I'm starting in 2023. The first edition was last week, and thank you very much for everyone who liked, subscribed, and shared that video. I think it's up over a couple thousand views right now, so I really appreciate all the support. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video and hit the notification bell so that you know when my new videos come out. I have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. So first we'll start with some new news about Star Trek. There were some tidbits about the upcoming seasons of Strange New Worlds, as well as this third season of Picard, and a new actor that wants to join the franchise. I also want to talk about one of my favorite sci-fi franchises besides Star Trek, which is Alien, and it looks like we have a new series and film that will begin production in 2023. I can't wait to talk about that, as well as a new trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I know I don't talk about the MCU that much on this channel, and I'll go into that when I talk about the trailer, but I'm very excited for this film, and it definitely will be the most science fiction style film of any in the MCU. And I also want to close the video by talking about two video game adaptations that are coming to us, one in the form of a series known as The Last of Us, as well as a new movie about the gaming series Borderlands, which I was a big fan of. So I can't wait to talk about all of that. So first, let's go ahead and talk about Star Trek. If you follow this channel, you know that I released a video about a new series about Section 31 that would star Michelle Yeoh. This is an update. I know that we've talked about this series for a couple of years now, but the executives at Paramount did provide an update last week. So if you are interested in that story, I highly recommend you check out that video. I won't talk about it that much since I already talked about it in the video, but I will leave a link to it here and in the description if you want to check it out. I'm super excited about it. And I do think that Section 31 will be a new series that Paramount will announce this season. So definitely check that out. In the last week, I noticed that the promotion seems to be heating up for Strange New Worlds. In 2023, we will be seeing the second season of Strange New Worlds. It's filmed, it's in the can. They're ready to go whenever they want to release it. I saw that Anson Mount has been doing some interviews. He was also featured during a fundraiser talking about the upcoming season. I don't think he released any useful news. The only thing that was kind of interesting was that he said that he thought that in the upcoming season of Strange New Worlds, that the crossover with the Lower Decks crew is not the craziest episode of the season, whatever that means. So, I mean, I love that show. I love the tone of the show. I can't wait for it to come back on. The next series that we will see will be the third season of Star Trek Picard. The showrunner for Star Trek Picard, Terry Matalas, did state that we will be seeing another trailer before the series debuts in the middle of February. We're about a month out right now. The Super Bowl, of course, is on the horizon, but it costs so much money to debut a commercial during the Super Bowl. I'm not sure that that's when they will show a new trailer. It would be a real ballsy move to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a new trailer a little bit before the Super Bowl, because like I stated, we only have about 4 weeks left. So they probably want to leave at least 2 weeks between the last trailer and the first episode of the season. So expect a new trailer here in the next couple of weeks, and make sure that you're subscribed, because whenever this trailer does come out, I'll definitely be doing a breakdown and picking out every little thing that I see in the trailer. So if you love trailer breakdowns, make sure that you are subscribed for that. Besides the trailer, the third season of Picard also debuted a new poster. That kind of made me think that we would be getting a trailer soon, because usually in the movies, when they release a new trailer, they release a new poster at the same time. So we got a new poster. Maybe we'll get a new trailer soon. The new poster is very cool. I didn't notice it the first couple of times, but when I look back at it a couple of days ago, I noticed that Brent Spiner, is in the poster as Lore, and he's wearing a Starfleet uniform. You could tell that by the shoulder pads or the shoulders that he is wearing the same style uniform that Riker is wearing, except Riker, of course, has the red for being in the command division. So I'm starting to believe that Lore may not be an antagonist for the third season of Picard. Besides the fact that he's wearing a uniform, if he was a problem for Starfleet and they caught him, they would just deactivate him. They had that ban on artificial intelligence that they showed in the first season of Picard. They showed that this led to them deactivating and disassembling B4. So if they did that to before, you would think that they would do that to Lore as well. So it makes me believe that perhaps Lore has been working for Starfleet, maybe for Section 31, maybe for some kind of, covert, operation that allowed him to continue while the rest of Starfleet was not allowed to use artificial intelligence. But another reason I think that he's a good guy is that if you follow this channel, you know that I also cover Star Trek comics, and there's a really good series going on right now that has Data and Worf. But there's a new series coming out, I think in a month or two, called Star Trek Defiant, where Worf takes the ship, the Defiant, that was on Deep Space Nine, and assembles his own crew. And one of the members of his crew is Lore. So if Lore is serving with Worf on the Defiant, that leads me to believe that he's a member of Starfleet, that he's actually a good guy now. Maybe Data's death gave him some kind of epiphany. Of course, Lore has emotions. That's the main difference between him and Data. So maybe he, had a change of heart, and now he's on the side of good instead of, being an antagonist. So I think that'll be interesting to see in the upcoming season of Picard. When we see Lore in the trailer, we're made to believe that he's incarcerated because we can see him behind what looks like a wall with a, window in it. But if you remember Star Trek jail cells, they have a force field. They don't have a door for that fourth wall. So it wouldn't make sense for Lore to be incarcerated in that scene. I know the viewer's made to believe that he is, but this all could be a ruse, and Lore could actually be on the crew with Picard and everybody else from the Next Generation, and maybe taking the place of Data in the third season. So that could be really interesting. I didn't really think about that until I saw the poster. And now I think that Lore may be a good guy, may not be an antagonist. Maybe Moriarty is working with the crew too and isn't an antagonist. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Another piece of news that I wanted to mention, it's not really news, but there was a story out there that actor Nicolas Cage, who's been in pretty much everything, was offered a role in the series Mandalorian. I think it might have been a tongue-in-cheek offer by one of the actors. It probably wasn't an official offer, but Nicolas Cage stated that he turned it down because he didn't want to be in Star Wars. He wanted to be in Star Trek. I think Nicolas Cage is awesome. I really hope that Alex Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams heard that interview and are on the phone with Nicolas Cage's agent right now. I would love to see Nicolas Cage in a Star Trek movie. I think that his personality, he could be so much. He could be a crazy alien. He could be a Harry Mudd type. He could be a buttoned up, admiral like Admiral Vance. I could see him, I could see him doing a lot. And you always want to have an actor who loves what they're doing, it's not just a job for them. And that if Nicolas Cage got a real solid part in Star Trek, he would go all out. And man, when Nicolas Cage goes all out, there's magic that happens there. So I really hope that Nicolas Cage does get a chance to be in Star Trek, and I can't wait to see what kind of part he plays. He kind of reminds me of Rainn Wilson. How when he was cast as Harry Mudd, I was just like, yep, that makes perfect sense. Patton Oswalt, another actor that just deserves to be in Star Trek. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what Nicolas Cage can do in Star Trek. Let me know in the comments, what do you think you'd like to see Nicolas Cage do in Star Trek? And also, if you have any comments about the stories that I talked about, or if there's anything that I missed that you would like me to talk about in an upcoming episode, I would love to hear it. So now let's talk about another one of my favorite science fiction franchises, that being Alien. And I'm so excited because not only is an Alien series that I already knew about coming in 2023, but there's a film as well. So I'm going to talk about both. But first, let's talk about the series. It was announced way back in 2020. A guy named Noah Hawley will direct it. If that name sounds familiar to you, the project that Noah Hawley was attached to before Alien was a Star Trek film. He was one of the directors that was hired, and then something happened with him with the Star Trek film. So after he was not involved with Star Trek anymore, he turned his attention, so to speak, to Alien. He also is working on the 5th season of Fargo. So in the interview that I read, The person who wrote it thought that might have been one of the delays, that they're waiting for his commitment to Fargo to end before they can begin filming. But the scripts have been written already for the series, and according to the studio, which is Hulu or Disney or whatever you want to call it, the film is in active pre-production, and they plan to start filming this year. Not too much is known about the plot. We know that it takes place before the original Alien, and they're calling it the first story that takes place in the Alien franchise on Earth. Now, if you watched all the Alien movies like I have, including the Alien versus Predator movies, that would seem to contradict that. A lot of people considered Alien versus Predator to be its own thing, not really connected to the Alien or Predator franchises. One of the reasons that this Alien series is getting made and there is momentum behind it is because Prey came out in 2022 and was such a big hit for Hulu. And Prey being a standalone style Predator film that did have connections, of course, to other films, but not every film. I don't believe, depending on who you ask, on what fan you ask, I don't really think there were any connections to the Alien versus Predator movies in Prey. I know that some people do. I tend to believe that that's not true, but I think that is showing at least one of the Predator's first hunts on Earth. So this series could be the aliens' first, hunt on Earth, similar to Prey. I think that they're going to build off the momentum of Prey a lot. It is still set in the future, so it's not going back, super far, but it is going to happen before Ripley. So they said that this series will take place around the year 2100. I think it's still another 100 or so years until Ripley meets the alien. Of course, Alien and Aliens were two very different films, but both amazing. Alien was very much a claustrophobic style space horror, probably one of the first, if not the first, movie of its kind. In space, no one can hear you scream. Everyone remembers that tagline. Aliens was more of a macho shoot 'em up style horror kind of movie, but still great. I mean, I love both of those movies, and I go back and forth on which one I like more. So I think that the series is trying to reconnect with the fans from the first movie. I don't think we're going to see the Marines come out and blow away a bunch of aliens. I wouldn't be surprised if there's only one alien, like the first film. The series might only have one alien. I think that in the films, aliens had multiple aliens. Alien 3 took place on a prison moon. I think there's only one alien in that film. And then Alien Resurrection, there's more than one alien, if I remember correctly. And then Alien versus Predator, of course, there were a few. So this may be, returning to those roots of, claustrophobic style, film. And with it being only about, 70 years in the future, maybe the technology, isn't that crazy. So it'll be closer to, what we see and stuff like that. So I can't wait for it. Noah Hawley, I love Fargo. The fact that he was attached to Star Trek also intrigues me. So I can't wait to see that series. Along with this new series, there's another film in production, and this film is titled right now, it's called Alien Romulus. Now, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're like, is this a crossover? Is a Star Trek Alien crossover? No, this is not like Aliens versus Predator versus Star Trek. No. If you follow the recent films of, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Romulus is probably the name of the vessel or the spaceship that is used in the movie. It might not be the name of the film when it's released. Both the series and the film will be released on Hulu. We don't know where Romulus is going to sit in the timeline. It seems like Romulus is going to be set after Covenant, but it could also be a standalone film. There isn't a lot of details about this either, but it is scheduled to start production in 2023. So they're doing scouting for pre-production sites right now. One actress has been cast. There's a rumor that a second one has been cast. So I don't want to, I'm not sure that those actors have actually been cast, so I'm not even going to name them. But there are rumors that 2 actors have been cast. So we'll see. We know that the film has been written and directed by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead reboot, if you watch that film. So this could again be another horror style movie if this is somebody who's known for horror. Again, not too much more is known about this film. I think that thanks to the success of Prey, this will be pushed a lot more than it would have been before Prey was released. But it might get a little confusing for fans if there is a series and a film that take place in different time periods and we don't know that they're connected. Maybe they will be connected. I mean, they're being released on the same channel, Hulu, but it's unclear right now where this movie really takes place in the Alien timeline. They're not going to do Alien versus Predator. I know a lot of people think that, well, Aliens and Predator now are both, could be on Hulu. We could have another one of those crossovers. I don't think there's any interest in doing another one of those films. The two that were released didn't really do that well. The first one probably did a lot better than the second one. I don't think anyone has really anything nice to say about the second Alien versus Predator film. So I don't think we're going to be going back to that formula anytime soon. So I think that these will be two separate paths that Hulu tries to develop on their channel. And after Prey, they may have some success there. As far as the future of Prey, there's been some rumors. I know that for a while they were talking about a sequel being set in feudal Japan, which could be interesting. If you watch the film Predators, there is a character who is from the Yakuza and finds a samurai sword on the Predator planet, kind of insinuating that at least if the Predator hadn't been on the planet Earth, he had taken a samurai from Earth and put him on that planet. So maybe there's some history there between feudal Japan and the Predator. So we'll see. But again, I love Alien. I love Predator. So let me know in the comments, are you still a fan of Aliens and Predator? And are you looking forward to a future in both those franchises? So next, I want to talk about a subject that I don't talk about that often, which is the MCU and the new trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, if you're wondering why I don't talk about the MCU that much, is that there's a lot of people on YouTube that talk about the MCU, so it's hard to create a video that anyone will watch, to be quite frank. So I love the MCU. I've seen every MCU movie more than once except for Black Panther, or the Black Panther sequel, just because that just came out. I've even seen the Eternals more than once. But that's why I don't really talk about the MCU that much, because it's a hard nut to crack. It's hard to get any views talking about the MCU. So I try and stick to my lane, which is science fiction. Having said that, the new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, Quantumania, looks very science fiction. So I think that this is definitely within my lane to talk about it. I will say that watching this trailer makes me more hyped for a movie that the MCU has created since the release of the trailer for Avengers Ultron. I think they did a great job at making the villain Kang look much more dangerous than any other villain that they have used in the MCU. The MCU has a well-known problem of creating not the most provocative villains. They're very, kind of the gray CGI villain that you see in one big battle with a lot of lasers. And I will say that recently the MCU has done a better job creating good villains. But as a whole, I would say if you look at the entire catalog, there are a lot more great hero performances than villain performances. But it looks like Jonathan Majors as Kang is just going to be amazing. I can't wait to see the film. If you saw the first two Ant-Man movies, it looks like this movie will be a way different tone than, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Those were, very funny. I mean, they were family. They were movies about family. And it looks like this third one will be about that as well. I think the plot of the movie is something to do with Scott Lang, who is Ant-Man, played by Paul Rudd. His daughter gets sucked into this quantum realm. The family is forced to follow her and try and get them out. And there they meet Kang, who's kind of the ruler, I believe, of the quantum realm at that point. But if you've watched the rest of the MCU, you know that he's a much bigger threat. And there are future Avengers team-up films where he's going to be the main bad guy as well. So Kang is an interesting villain though, because like any science fiction villain, just because you kill him once doesn't mean he's dead for good. He comes back again and again, and he's already been killed once. Jonathan Majors, as a version of the character named He Who Remains, was killed at the very end of the Loki series. So, but again, it doesn't mean that his character is gone forever. So, very science fiction-y, looks very trippy, very cool. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I will probably cover on the channel just because, again, it's very science fiction. But let me know in the comments. Are you going to see the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania movie? Are you excited for it? Are you a fan of the MCU? And would you like to see more MCU videos on this channel? So the next thing that I would like to talk about is a video game adaptation, and that is of the video game Borderlands. Now, in case you're not familiar with this game series, it's a action role-playing first-person shooter that basically is kind of like if James Gunn had written Mad Max. It's really crazy. It's really fun. It can get serious from time to time. If I remember the stories correctly, I believe I enjoyed the second one in the series the most, but they're all really fun. They're set in a really crazy universe. The characters are awesome. The gameplay is really cool. So I'm really looking forward to this film. And the cast for this is outstanding. Cate Blanchett, who is just amazing in everything she's in. She could be filmed sneezing and probably win an award. Kevin Hart and Jack Black, two really funny comedians, are going to be in it as well. Jamie Lee Curtis, Bobby Lee, who Mad TV fans or fans of the Tiger Belly podcast, shout out to that podcast. He's hilarious. Gina Gershon is going to be in it. So there's Penn Jillette. So there's just a lot of funny people that are going to be in this film. I can't wait to see it. But the news that was released is that even though we've actually seen a poster for the film, the director, Eli Roth, who has directed, a ton of horror movies, that's mostly what he's known for, is not able to direct the reshoots, and they will be directed by Tim Miller. Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, if you're familiar with that movie, which is hilarious and bloody. And so this guy's perfect for Borderlands. Eli Roth, also perfect for Borderlands. I thought it was funny, though, the reason that Eli Roth could not film the reshoots of Borderlands is because he's finally making a film about the fake trailer Thanksgiving. If you watch the movie, Grindhouse movie that he did a long time ago, he did these fake trailers, and a lot of them have become movies. One of them being Thanksgiving, which is really out there, and he's finally making a movie for that. So if I can't even imagine what that movie is going to be, but having said that, I think the Borderlands movie is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to incorporate elements and characters from all three games in the movie, and like I said, it's mostly film. They're just doing reshoots now, so we could see it in 2023. It's being made by Lionsgate, so I believe that means that it will be released. Yeah, it's going to be released theatrically in the United States by Lionsgate. There were test screenings done in 2022 in November, so we'll see. I don't remember hearing anything about it after that. Maybe the reshoots are a result of those test screenings. It was announced a really long time ago, and then I think it was filmed during or right before the pandemic. So this has been long delayed, but I cannot wait to see this movie. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But let me know in the comments. Are you a fan of Borderlands? Are you a fan of this movie? Are you looking forward to it? Let me know, and let me know any other video game adaptations that you're looking forward to. Speaking of video game adaptations, The Last of Us would have already premiered. So I'm recording this video on Sunday morning. In the evening is when the first episode will be releasing. If you're not familiar with The Last of Us, I did a video about that too about a month ago. I will link it here in the description. There's no spoilers in it, so if you want to go into the first episode and not really, just know what the characters are and kind of what the setting is and about the outbreak, that's definitely a video that you want to check out. So I will leave it there so you can check it out. But I'm really looking forward to watching it later tonight. I'm going to be doing a video about it later this week, so look out for that. But let me know in the comments if you watched The Last of Us. I'm guessing that the first episode had to do with the outbreak. And if that's the case, then I'm sure it was a crazy episode. And probably everybody's talking about it right now. So let me know if you saw it. Try not to put any spoilers, or if you're going to put spoilers, put spoilers in the comment, and then, hit return a couple of times so people won't get anything spoiled that don't want it to be. But I'm really looking forward to it. I've also mentioned the Fallout adaptation. That's going to be coming out later this year on Amazon. I can't wait for that to be released. Yeah, so let me know in the comments. Did you watch The Last of Us? Are you looking forward to any other video game adaptations like Fallout? And are there any video games that you play now that you think would be cool to adapt to the screen? Well, again, that's all I have this week, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. If there's any subjects that I didn't mention, let me know, and if I talk about it next week, I'll pin your comments so everybody can see it. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. Please hit that like button if you have not yet, and I will see you next time on WDIM News.